the Asus ROG Ally, DOA, and also a possible success story. So, why this differing and contradicting view? Well, that's easy for me. The Asus ROG or ROG Ally is both a game changer and a dead end, and here's why. First, for me, it's the spec. Double the power, so cries everyone. But will it have double the power of the Steam Deck? That seems to be the baseline we're measuring against here, isn't it? Well, history would suggest not. We all heard that the 6800U was going to destroy the Steam Deck, and while it's a slight step up in performance, it's hardly destroying it in real life. So, Zen 4 and RDNA 3 should on paper be a very good step up in performance. But there's caveats. One, Windows is the big one. The Steam Deck is lucky in that it has its own tailored OS and drivers for that single APU lineup, whereas the Ally is going to rely on its AMD Adrenalin Edition driver and Windows with all its generic vagaries. This might, in my view, hold the Ally back a bit. And let's not forget the big bump in performance parts, the main one being the 120Hz 1080p display. Now, to drive this at decent FPS, you're going to need a lot more grunt just to take advantage of the extra pixels and refresh rate. So for me, it's one giant leap forward and a massive skip backwards. Yes, it's going to look amazing running games like Ori and the Blind Forest, but it's going to perform just as hideously as the deck running Cyberpunk 2077 at its native resolution. That's comparing 800p with 1080p. So what else do we know about this 120Hz display? Well, we know it has a variable refresh rate. Linus himself alluded to that, meaning it will employ a variable refresh to make games appear to run smoother right up into the point when they start to chug. Again, that's something else that Linus noted. He said it ran really, really well. He didn't notice any drops in the refresh until you dropped to a point where it was below the screen's refresh and then you saw it chugging. However, it might be possible to lock the refresh to something like 40Hz, just like you do on the Steam Deck, and then that might just be able to drive some games at 1080p and make them look absolutely brilliant. So in the absence of more information, I'm going to take that as a win. Next, let's look at the price. Well, Asus have said it'll be competitive, but I have a feeling everyone sees competitive and presumes affordable. The Steam Deck is affordable when compared to the handheld market in general, but will the Asus ROG, the gamer's choice, or more accurately the high-end gamer's choice, actually measure itself against the deck? Or will it measure itself against the best from, say, Aya Neo? Now, the Aya Neo Next Pro, that costs around $1,500. That's considerably higher than the $700 for the top-end Steam Deck. So while I believe the ROG Ally will be competitive, I don't necessarily think it'll be everyday affordable. My gut feeling is that it'll cost just shy of $1,000, and then that'll make it cheaper than Aya Neo, which makes it a good buy. But I also have a gut feeling that there'll be a caveat on that, and it'll be depending on you buying that eGPU that was so widely advertised. Now, great, that's going to make your gaming look amazing when you plug it into a big screen. But it's going to cost an extra $2,000, and that's, in my view, probably to qualify for the cheapest Ally price. If you say bought it without the eGPU included, I think it may be more like the $1,200 mark, which is still competitive if you're comparing it with the likes of Aya Neo, but it's expensive when you compare it to the likes of the Steam Deck. So this has all just been kind of my speculation. I may be extremely wide of the mark on price, but looking at recent prices for lower powered handhelds, which we were all expecting to be under $300, or lower for the early bird prices, seems to have not borne out in reality. We are currently seeing early bird prices for like the Aya Neo Air Plus. The early bird prices for that were more like the final retail prices we were expecting, and now we're seeing final retail prices which are firmly in the low end or the base model Steam Deck territory. So I think 2023 is going to be a bit of a defining window for handheld gaming. I think we're going to see an emerging market for really good, high quality, faster, expensive handhelds like the ROG Ally. And then we're going to see the Steam Deck is going to be at the expensive end of the affordable gaming market, with many more lower end units, much like the Aya Neo Air Plus 1215U model, something like that. If they can start driving that price down, we might even see people like Absolute carving out a small market at the bottom end, where you're not really playing anything locally, you're streaming it from your higher end PC. That's where the ROG Ally is competing with, I think. You're taking the high end with you, maybe leaving your eGPU at home, but that's it. That's your high end when you get home. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.